The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, reality TV had a massive new obsession.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to StarScope Report.
Yeah.
We are diving deep today into Hollywood drama, viral influencer scandals, and the messy stories behind the fame. And today's deep dive is centered around one massive headline. Wes Wilson finally explains why he left.
Right. The story that has completely taken over entertainment news, it is just wild.
It really is. So what happens when a professional media strategist completely destroys his own public image using the exact PR tactics he was trained to deploy?
Well, I mean, it creates this fascinating paradox. You watch someone with all the tools to control a narrative, apply them in an environment where those specific tools are basically guaranteed to fail.
Exactly. And that is the mission of our deep dive today. We aren't just recapping reality TV drama for you. We are dissecting a total masterclass in how not to manage a public relations crisis, courtesy of Wes Wilson and his spectacular crash and burn on the hit Bravo show, Summer House.
Yeah, and whether you are a die-hard fan who's been following every single twist of this saga on Reddit, or you are someone who has literally never watched a Bravo show in your life, you need to hear this. The underlying mechanics of this story are so universally applicable.
Right, because it's a psychological study. It's about what happens when a rising star's ego clashes with the absolute necessity of public accountability.
Totally. And just to set the stage for you, we have pulled from a massive stack of sources today to give you the full picture.
Yeah, we are looking at reporting from TMZ, Variety Reality Blurb. We've got the raw fan reactions from the Summer House Bravo Reddit forums. And we're also dissecting direct quotes from Wes Wilson's own recent podcast interviews.
So we really have it from all angles. The PR spin, the fan outrage, and his own admissions.
We really do. Let's start with the guy himself right off the bat. Wes Wilson is not your average cast member pulled out of nowhere.
No, not at all.
He has a really solid background in sports media. I mean, he was a safety for the Missouri State University Bobcats. Then he went on to work as a video producer for Bleacher Report.
Right.
And currently, he works as a sports editorial producer at Conflicts Networks. He even hosts his own digital series.
Which means he understands content, fundamentally. He understands how to package a narrative for an audience. He balances reality television with a very lucrative career in brand deals.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Exactly. And when he joined Summer House for season 8, he was a massive hit. I mean, the fans absolutely loved his energy, but that goodwill, it just evaporated overnight.
Like literally overnight. And that brings us to the inciting incident. Because on March 31st, 2026, West and his co-star, Amanda Batula, released this highly sterile, totally corporate-sounding joint public statement.
Oh, the statement. It was so bad.
It was. And they were confirming a secret romance. But the context surrounding that statement is where the friction really starts for the audience.
Right, because Amanda had just announced her separation from her husband and fellow co-star Cooke. And that was barely 2 months prior. She was technically still married.
Still married. And to compound the issue, West had previously dated Amanda's best friend and co-star, Ciara Miller.
Yeah, that is the kicker right there. And this wasn't a quiet revelation either. A few days before that official statement on March 29, the rumors were stoked by Southern Charm star Austin Kroll.
Oh my gosh, Austin Kroll.
Oh,
He basically lit the match.
He really did. He posted a photo of West, Amanda, and Ciara having dinner together with a wildly provocative caption. It read, "Pasta and Flock, your friends' exes are apparently so back."
Which is just an insane thing to post publicly. Austin essentially lit the fuse,
Yeah.
but West and Amanda absolutely provided the gunpowder here.
Completely. And Ciara's reaction was devastating.
Oh, it was heartbreak.
She did an interview with Glamour magazine describing the betrayal as a major mindfuck. She was even photographed slumped on a New York pavement, visibly in distress over this whole thing.
Which is awful. But okay, let me push back on this for a second. Because, looking at it from the outside, isn't this exact kind of messy, incestuous drama the entire foundation of reality TV?
Well, you would think so, right?
Yeah. I mean, why did this specific relationship cross the line from, entertaining television to a potentially career-ending move for West?
It comes down to the foundational premise of Summer House as a show. This isn't a show about random strangers thrown into a house to fight.
Right, it's not Big Brother.
Exactly. It originally started by documenting real pre-existing friendships. The audience buys into the authenticity of those bonds. So when West and Amanda hooked up, It shattered the real-life ecosystem the show relies on.
Because Amanda was Ciara's best friend.
Yes, and Kyle viewed West as a close confidant. So it wasn't just a hookup, it was a profound betrayal of the group's trust.
Okay, so it's less about the romance itself and more about the structural damage it caused. It's like knocking out a load-bearing wall in your house because you want to build a shiny new window.
That is a great way to put it.
Like, you might get the view you wanted for a second, but you collapse the entire roof on top of yourself and everyone else living there. The audience felt the betrayal because the collateral damage was inflicted on people the viewers had spent years emotionally investing in.
Precisely. And that structural damage leads us to the actual mechanism of their failure. Because to understand why the audience turned on them so aggressively, we really have to look at how they handled the fallout.
Right.
The timeline of their joint statement on March 31 wasn't some carefully calculated PR rollout. It was actually an act of blind panic triggered by a massive invasion of privacy.
Okay, and this is where it gets super dark. If you're loving these Hollywood twists so far, make sure you're subscribed to StarScope Report because we have got even crazier details ahead.
Yeah, you will not believe what forced them to release that statement.
It is wild. So West recently sat down with hosts Lucas Brody and Nelson Vergara on the Broadcast Boys podcast. And during that interview, West revealed that the joint statement was just thrown together because of a looming threat.
Right, the illegal video.
Yes. He confirmed the existence of an illegal video filmed by a neighbor across the street showing him and Amanda, quote, canoodling, unquote, in his New York apartment.
Which is a terrifying invasion of privacy.
It is genuinely scary. This illegal tape threw them into survival mode. West admitted on the podcast that the resulting corporate statement was unnecessary and embarrassing.
Well, Nelson Vergara rightly pointed out during that interview that they should have bypassed the PR apparatus entirely. They should have just had a human conversation with Kyle and Ciara first.
Exactly. But here's where I get a bit confused. If someone is illegally filming you through your own living room window, isn't the victim mentality completely justified there? How did the public end up turning their backs on West instead of rallying behind him over this massive violation?
It's because the public responds to vulnerability, not defensive posturing. Yes, the invasion of privacy is objectively awful, and they absolutely were victims in that specific regard.
Right. Nobody deserves to be filmed secretly.
Exactly. But by putting out a cold, defensive PR statement rather than showing genuine distress, they severed the empathy connection with the audience. And more importantly, they completely failed to address the human casualties.
Kyle and Ciara.
Exactly. Think about this in the context of your own life. Have you ever been in a heated personal argument, and instead of calling the person to talk it out, you sent this cold, highly formal, carefully drafted text message?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you do it to protect yourself. You want to build a wall so you can't get hurt.
Right, but what does it actually do to the person receiving it?
It definitely alienates them. It usually infuriates them, honestly.
Exactly. When you use corporate speak to handle human emotions, you signal that you care more about your own liability than their feelings. If West had come forward, condemned the illegal video, but simultaneously taken immediate, tearful ownership of the hurt he caused his friends, the public response might have been entirely sympathetic.
Wow, yeah. Instead, he let panic dictate his actions, hid behind a shield of PR, and the audience just saw right through it.
They did. And that desire to hide behind a shield of stoicism became glaringly obvious later on.
Which brings us to the Season 10 reunion. And wait till you hear what happened here, because this is where the narrative shifts from bad PR to just perceived evasion.
The reunion is the proving ground in reality television. It is the arena where you are expected to answer for your actions.
And West essentially refused to enter the arena.
He shut down entirely. It was bizarre to watch.
It really was. The host, Andy Cohen, actually had to stop the proceedings and ask him if he was taking beta blockers because his affect is so incredibly flat.
Right, and then Amanda had to jump in and clarify that she was the one who had medicated before the reunion to deal with the anxiety.
Yeah, not West. And when pressed on his lack of emotion, West defended himself by citing his childhood. He stated that his dad had anger issues when he was little, so his internal compass is constantly tuned to keeping everyone calm by simply not reacting.
Which, psychologically speaking, is a very real, very valid trauma response.
Right, of course.
Freezing is a natural reaction to high-stress confrontation. But in the specific context of reality television accountability, it plays terribly to the viewers at home.
Oh, the viewers hated it. The Reddit fans on Summer House Bravo tore him apart. One user called him an, quote, Inarticulate, bumbling weirdo who fumbled a golden opportunity.
Yikes. That is harsh.
Very harsh, but the consensus was clear. If you're going to do something polarizing on television, you have to speak on it. If you're going to be the villain, you have to own the villain era. You can't just sit there silently.
The contrast is what really angered the fans, because they're used to seeing cast members aggressively defend themselves or break down in tears. The Bravo audience demands emotional transparency.
Always.
So when someone stonewalls, it feels evasive and manipulative.
It's like watching a high-stakes courtroom trial where the defendant flat out refuses to take the stand and then acts surprised when the jury finds him guilty.
That's exactly what it felt like.
But I have to ask, I mean, is it possible West genuinely just froze under the intense Bravo spotlight? He works in sports media, which is a very different sector of entertainment. Did he simply lack the emotional toolkit to handle reality TV confrontation?
To answer that, we really have to look at his behavior immediately after the reunion, because his subsequent actions refute the idea that he was just a deer in the headlights.
Oh, for sure.
He wasn't frozen, he was calculating. Right after staying silent on the reunion stage, West went on his own podcast, West Date Ever, and Show Me Something.
Right.
And he openly trashed the show and his castmates. He explicitly stated that he was hoping a New York Knicks Game 6 would distract viewers so that the ratings for the Aftermath episode would be low.
Wow. Hoping a basketball game buries your bad behavior. That is a level of calculation that really undermines the whole "I just freeze during conflict" excuse.
Exactly. It proves he could articulate his thoughts and formulate a sophisticated media strategy. He just refused to do it when his castmates were sitting right in front of him, challenging him to his face.
He wanted the safety of his own microphone, where he couldn't be interrupted or contradicted.
He wanted to produce his own redemption arc without any opposing cast members getting a word in.
And that reunion silence didn't just highlight his evasion, it highlighted a staggering trail of collateral damage. And that's not even the wildest part. Wait till we get to the Meija Moreno situation.
Oh, this is where it gets so messy. Because while he was refusing to speak, the narrative expanded from a single bad decision, hooking up with Amanda, to a systemic pattern of leading women on and discarding them.
Yeah, the reunion really revealed that the timeline was much messier than a simple love triangle.
Yeah.
Beyond Amanda and Ciara, there was another woman, Meija Moreno.
Right.
West had been dating Meija for over a year. During that same Broadcast Boys interview, West openly admitted that he originally ended things with Ciara for Meija.
And then he effectively dropped Meija for Amanda.
It's just a carousel.
Yeah.
He confessed to the host that he, quote, wanted my cake and ate it too. He admitted to doing the wrong thing with Amanda while he was still seeing Meija, but he tried to use this unbelievable technicality to justify it.
The technicality is what truly condemned him with the audience. It showed a fundamental disrespect for the people he was involved with.
I need to pause here and unpack this.
Yeah.
Because it is wild. He told the podcast host, and this is a direct quote, "If I'm not D and V, then I'm not committing a crime."
It is so gross to even say.
It really is. He actually tried to argue that because he and Amanda didn't have penetrative sex using that crude acronym, it somehow didn't count as cheating on Meija.
Unbelievable.
He claimed he and Amanda were just making out and having sleepovers for a long time, noting their first public kiss was at a bar in late February.
Yeah.
And how did he handle the breakup with Meija after the disastrous reunion?
This is the worst part.
He callously texted her 2 words, "You win."
Just you win. Treating romance like a legal loophole is a catastrophic misjudgment of audience intelligence.
It sounds like a teenager trying to argue with their parents over a curfew technicality. Like, well, technically, I was on the porch. How does a 31-year-old media professional think this juvenile excuse will fly on national television?
This is where we see the concept of producer brain completely short-circuiting his emotional intelligence. He forgot who he was talking to.
The fans.
Right. The Bravo viewership has spent decades watching reality TV evolve. They are essentially amateur psychologists at this point. They highly value emotional intelligence, transparency, and accountability.
They really do. They see right through the BS.
So when West offered a clinical biological technicality to excuse emotional infidelity, he insulted the intelligence of the viewers. He thought like a producer trying to skirt a contract clause, rather than a human being addressing a broken heart.
Yeah, he treated human relationships like a legal deposition. Like, well, technically the crime was not fully committed. It is incredibly tone-deaf.
So tone-deaf.
And it didn't stop with Meija. He also admitted to leaving a flirty comment on Ciara's social media post during all of this drama, simply because he was drunk and, in his words, she looked hot.
It just shows a total lack of impulse control and empathy.
Furthermore, when confronted about the specific challenges Ciara faced, West admitted he failed to give her the grace and understanding she needed as she navigated being a black woman on a predominantly white reality TV show.
Which is a huge admission. He acknowledged a massive systemic pressure that Ciara was under and simultaneously admitted he disregarded it for his own gratification. It demonstrated a severe lack of empathy, which further alienated the fan base.
And that arrogant belief that he could just outsmart the audience via technicalities is exactly what caused him to try and outsmart the network executives behind the scenes.
Yes, this is the part that actually ended his run on the show.
Because while West's messy personal life certainly angered the fans, what actually got him fired was his attempt to play TV producer.
The cardinal rule of reality television is that the cast member is the talent, not the showrunner. When you blur that line, the network steps in swiftly.
And West crossed that line by a mile. Reports emerged that West actively tried to get original, veteran cast members fired from the show.
Which is insane for a relatively new cast member to do.
Completely insane.
Yeah.
An insider told US Weekly that West told producers pregnant co-star Lindsay Hubbard shouldn't film season 11. His reasoning: he claimed the show's about singles and having fun, and a pregnant woman didn't fit his vision for the summer.
That alone is a massive overstep. He fundamentally misunderstood why people watch the show. They don't tune in for a static concept of just singles partying. They tune in to watch the evolution of these people's lives over years.
Exactly. The fans want to see the milestones. But he didn't stop at Lindsay. He also actively tried to make OGs Carl Radke and Cooke look bad to the producers.
Right.
He basically suggested that the show would be vastly improved if it just focused on him and his new friends.
And what was the result of this attempted coup?
Well, TMZ broke the news that West's contract was not picked up. He was fired. He was not returning for season 11, which started filming over the July 4th weekend.
Yeah, the network was not having it.
West later confirmed his exit on a podcast, claiming he wanted to announce the news on his own terms. But he did admit it wouldn't have been a fun summer.
He was right about that.
He was definitely right, because the remaining cast reportedly flat out refused to film with him. And they now hold an active countdown betting on when his relationship with Amanda will inevitably end.
It is the ultimate backfire. He tried to engineer the show to revolve entirely around him, and instead he engineered his own termination.
I have to compare this to sports, given his background. It's like a rookie getting called up to the Yankees, having one decent month at the plate, and immediately marching into the general manager's office demanding they trade Aaron Judge and the rest of the veteran stars so they can rebuild the franchise around him.
That is the perfect analogy.
Right. Like, did West's background in sports media give him a completely false sense of authority here? Did his outside brand deals inflate his ego so much that he legitimately thought he could produce Summer House better than Bravo?
What you were describing is classic ego overreach. His professional background in digital media absolutely gave him a false sense of security.
Yeah, for sure.
He confused knowing how to package short-form social video for Bleacher Report with knowing how to structure a multi-season reality television narrative.
Two completely different skill sets.
Like, entirely different. He drastically overestimated his own star power after just one successful season, and he severely underestimated the immense value of the original cast's long-term chemistry.
Yeah, the network knows the audience tunes in for the deep, complicated, decade-long history between Kyle, Carl, Lindsay, and the rest of the OGs.
Exactly. West thought he was the new main character, but the network quickly reminded him he was just a guest in their house.
Ego overreach. That sums up the entire arc perfectly. If we distill all these sources, all this Reddit fury, and all of West's own admissions, his rapid rise and fall is the ultimate cautionary tale.
It really is.
It shows what happens when you combine an inflated ego, terrible crisis management instincts, and a fundamental misunderstanding of the platform you're operating on.
Yeah.
You absolutely cannot control the narrative when you lose your authenticity.
And the core lesson here extends far beyond television. When you make a mistake, especially one that hurts people close to you, the instinct to hide behind a sterile PR statement, to blame an external factor like an invasion of privacy, or to use technicalities to minimize your guilt will almost always backfire.
I want you to connect this back to your own life. Whether you are navigating complicated office politics, managing a team, or just looking out for your own personal reputation within your friend group, remember this. Taking direct face-to-face accountability with the people you have affected is always better than dodging the conflict.
Absolutely. You have to take the stand in your own defense, and you have to own your actions. Vulnerability and accountability build trust. Spin and technicalities destroy it.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over. Right now, West is aggressively trying to project a happy ending.
Oh, yeah.
He recently said that in 2 years, he fully expects to be in Amanda's backyard, noting that he has already had lovely meetings with her parents.
But the reality TV machine never stops turning.
It never stops. Rumors are heavily swirling right now that West's ex, Meija Moreno, the woman he coldly texted "you win" to, might actually be cast in season 11 of Summer House.
Oh, wow.
So, as you go about your day, think about this. Will the audience soon be watching a completely different redemption arc play out on their screens? One where Meija takes center stage, and West is entirely ironically erased from the very narrative he tried so desperately to control.
A fascinating possibility. The spotlight always finds the truth eventually, even if it leaves the original director in the dark.
It always does. If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you subscribe. We've got even crazier stories ahead. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining. We will catch you next time.